We have a witness go on record saying that they saw you in the White House parking lot with Mr. Egan, Ms. Bruckheimer, and Senator Pierce.
That's correct. I ran into them by chance because I was merely getting something from my car.
What were you getting?
I was getting some medicine.
What kind of medicine?
It's knee medicine.
Knee medicine.
Yeah, knee medicine. I have problems with my left knee. It hurts when I crouch.
What was the name of the medicine?
I want to say it's called Crouch Cream, but that's not right. It's a white tube with a red label. I'm sure an intern could research this. It has a silhouette of a horse on it, and I don't know why the horse is on there. I guess horses probably have good knees, so, but I think it's called Knee-Z cream. I don't think that's it.
TBTM. He hates these cans. Stay away from the cans.
This is genius. This is genius work.
Just because you like laying around your house in your underpants doesn't mean the United States of America has to see it.
Is there, and I'm just guessing here, some kind of medication that you maybe need a lot of and have taken none of, or maybe too much of today?
I stand corrected. This is compelling radio.
Well, all right. Hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Thursday edition of TBTL, the show. Just might be too beautiful to live.
It does take time, and it is a pain in the ass.
My name's Luke Burbank. I'm your host.
I am extraordinary.
Coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia, where you may, throughout today's episode, hear a certain amount of construction noise going on here in the studio.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
That is because my dad, Walt, is in the final stages of installing a sink here in the sort of kitchenette of the Madrona Hill studio.
Who is my daddy, and what does he do?
And I asked him how loud he thought that the project was going to be, and he said not very loud, although you might hear me muttering Chinese bullshit at some point. So just everyone prepare for that as we've made it to episode 4,687 in a collector's series.
Let the fun begin.
Here's a sentence I didn't really expect to be uttering today, if you would have asked me a week ago. AfroMan has prevailed in court in Ohio.
I'm the president of rap music, and I need to work with you right away.
It's somehow become quite the story. Story of AfroMan being sued by his local police department and then beating them in court. A jury finding that he did not, in fact, slander these police officers. We will talk about the details of the case. Also, I'm sure most of you already know this, but it's the 20-year and 2-day anniversary of the Crichton leprechaun story.
To me, it looked like a leprechaun to me.
In Mobile, Alabama. And we'll once again endeavor to get to the story here on 2 days after St. Patrick's Day, which is a Thursday, if I'm looking at the calendar right, which means it's also a Blur's Day. So, so we'll do the Blur's Day messages, too, because that's what we do on Thursdays here. And the guy who's in charge of that, well, it's this dude, longest-running Cobro of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships. Of course, the baseball season is just around the corner, and he is already in mid-season form.
What's courageous about eating a hot dog?
He's Andrew Walsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Luke. I'm getting these Blur's Days ready as we speak. I mean, great batch. Just a great batch today, honestly.
Good.
Stick around. Stick around
Glad
for that
to
if
hear
you
it.
can. Can you?
I can. I mean, I've got nowhere to be. That's not true. I've got to do Livewire tonight, so we got to keep this under 7 hours.
Oh, okay.
How many Blur's
I'll
Days
lose
are there?
the bit where I get into race and American baseball then, if we need to lose something to keep it under 7 hours.
Plus, we covered that, I believe, yesterday.
Well, I had some more thoughts on the topic. I had been doing less thinking on it, and so wanted to swing back around so I could add to my already articulate thoughts.
Honestly, I think your thoughts, I would say Dave Sims's thoughts, and then your thoughts about Dave Sims's thoughts, and we're not, Andrew, For the love of God, we're not talking about your beloved World Baseball Classic again today.
What is that?
But
that
doesn't look like anything to me.
I barely even remember that. That's history.
But no, I think that was. I thought that was an. I've been thinking about our conversation about that happened at the way end of the show yesterday. Thankfully,
I
if it's got me reflecting on it. Maybe there was some kind of I don't know, something interesting about it.
It's got me missing Dave Sims. Which is, and again, I think maybe a lot of people miss Dave Sims around here. I'm not exactly sure. Like, he was kind of beloved by the Mariners fan base, but he was sort of stuck in between, right? He didn't have that like old school legacy that Rick Riz has sort of inherited, and he's also not like the new young people who we're all excited about, like Angie Goldsmith and everybody.
He's kind of a cornball,
and he's a cornball. I miss
him
almost. I miss his online presence more than I miss him calling games, which is funny because you would think that I could still find his online presence. I think maybe this is more a story about me quitting Instagram than Dave Sims leaving Seattle.
We've finally gotten to the heart of the matter.
Oh, wait, I got to cut that section too. We're keeping it under 7 hours, you said, or like 7 and change today?
I would say my hard out is about 4 p.m. West Coast, but that also doesn't give me time to finish writing my Otska Okatska questions. And also finding a best news we heard all week story. So I need to carve out let's try to be done by 3.
I'm losing my Instagram bit then. Okay, sounds good.
Probably just as well,
it's
honestly.
Probably have I talked about that on the show yet? I just don't know if it's been covered. That's my only concern.
Have you
considered? A lot of listeners are like, is he on Instagram or not? I don't know. I can't remember. It's important.
I regularly forget that you're not officially on Instagram. That's
are you?
Story.
What is the story over there? Are you pretty active on it? Because you've always been sort of in between on Instagram yourself.
I wish that I liked it more. Nothing will fill the Twitter-shaped hole in my heart. That was the one that really... Twitter had really bewitched and beguiled me because of the feedback that I would get on there sometimes. Even the other day, Becca and I were at this place, the Elsinore Theater. That's where we saw the improv hypnotist. And another artist who was coming to the Elsinore Theater was Richard Marx. Richard Marx of 1980s and 90s music fame. By the way, of good take-having fame.
Oh, yeah.
He's a generally progressive voice online.
Can I say something it's not about him. Maybe. He's a very popular singer, and I know that he's a good singer, but he fits into that husky-voiced category that I can't do a lot with myself as
Who else is in Who do you think of as husky voice?
The three guys
we call it big and tall voiced.
That's
Please
right.
use the proper terminology.
I always get this confused, but the 3 guys who did this song from not Men in Tights, but the actual serious Robin Hood movie is like had
Ryan. You're thinking of Brian Adams.
Brian
you think
Adams,
his voice is husky? Brian Adams, I think, has a huskier voice than Richard Marx. But this is the first I've ever considered the huskiest. Okay,
like kind of that scratchy. So you got Brian Adams. I put in there Sting. I know doesn't. I mean he kind of gets. No, I'm just thinking of that particular song, and they did a kind of a whatever you call a duet with 3 people. But who's the master?
A duet
of
with
it?
3 people. That would be a first.
Well, that's what I said. Whatever you would call a duet with 3 people. I don't know the word for that. A trio.
I don't think there is a word for that. They should come up with one. But what is that song you're talking about? You don't mean a Police song. It's something else.
No, there is a song where 3 men got together in the 90s and they did the main song for the Robin Hood thing. And it was Brian Adams. I thought, I might be wrong about this. I thought that song was, and it might be All for Love, although that might be just a single by Brian Adams. But it's the one that has... Rod the Bod, Rod Stewart, definitely. He's like the king of the husky-voiced boys, as far as I'm concerned. Rod Stewart, and then Brian Adams, kind of...
Everything I Do from Brian Adams was on the soundtrack.
Okay, and that's not with the 3 of them? That's not the trio?
No, that's just him. That's just Everything I Do It For You.
Oh, okay. What's the Brian Adams? And it is Brian Adams, right?
Brian Adams, not to be confused with Ryan Adams. There has been some confusion over the years. I think
All for Love. Brian Adams, Rod Stewart, and Sting do the song All for Love. And you know what is also confusing? The thing is, it was 3 Musketeers, not Robin Hood.
Oh, okay.
Does that...
I did not get a chance to see the 3 months. It's on my list. I'm
I've never seen it, but you don't know this song. This song was
I don't know.
I mean, I could not escape this song. Oh wait, this is oh my god, this is one of
Does it
those
sound
videos.
anything like Lemon Pound Cake by AfroMan?
No.
Are there any
they do call out.
similarities?
Well, there's somebody from the police.
They call
in
out
this.
the Adams County Police Department.
There's somebody
as well?
from the police in this.
Never heard this song in my life.
I'm actually kind of surprised that this isn't.
I am too.
Something that like groups of people get together and do karaoke about our age because I thought this song was. I just could not escape this song when it was the
so
9.
Weird. I feel like, let's see, Three Musketeers. I did once rent an adult film in high school called The Three Musketeers, which I feel like they phoned that one in. I forgot my dad's working here. Nothing, Walt. Never happened. Let's see. Box office. I have a theory, Andrew, which was that.
What did your dad just yell at you? Did he just say?
He just made a yelp because I was talking about adult
Yikes.
materials in high school. The 2011 film Three Musketeers grossed $132 million worldwide against a $75 million budget.
But that's the wrong song, though. That's not 2011. This was a song from the 90s that was all over VH1 when I was a young person. So
it's so strange that one just that one whiffed right past me.
93, the Three Musketeers.
1993. So there was they've made multiple Three Musketeer movies in the last 20 years, I guess. So there was a 90s version, and then there was a 2011 version.
Not 20 years. That'd be like 40 years ago, right? 90s.
I don't like it when you remind me that possible time like that.
Not 40, but what,
emotionally-
30 plus or something?
Okay,
93?
but what I find so strange is, like, I feel like I was in, well, you said it was 90. When did this movie come out?
93, so that would be what, 43, or I'm sorry, 33 years, not 40. That's an exaggeration.
I can explain, or at least I have a theory why I literally have never heard that song in my life, and it's because 93 would have been prime Luke Burbank, junior in high school, is rejecting all things that feel quote-unquote mainstream. I'm wearing a long sleeve, thermal underwear under my Hawaii Fire Department T-shirt. I'm growing my hair out long. I'm listening to, Seattle grunge and indie music, the Screaming Trees, you name it. And I'm beginning to sort of establish in my own mind my personality as being not into things that are on like the mainstream radio, because that would be. And then of course I cycled right back into it years later, like that. Well, that Bryan Adams song, the one we were from Robin, that was before that, right? So that would have been maybe in the 80s or something. Because that one, just like, I think I probably cried to that song.
I'm not sure. I would like to be clear, though. You're saying that like you rejected stuff like this. My point is not that I was into this song or that this was my kind of music. I hated it. I used this as an example of the kind of husky voice music that I don't like. But for me, it was just inescapable.
I wonder why it was inescapable in Ohio, but I escaped it in Seattle.
I have a feeling it was maybe more of a
VH1
VH1 thing. I have a feeling that 93 was probably around the time that I first got cable, and I was just doing a lot of flipping between MTV and VH1 because I don't remember it. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't on the radio, but I remember seeing it on TV and hearing it more, and really disliking it, and just really that soft rock style of music and production combined with those husky voices. We're making it a thing.
You heard it here first. I call them dog voices, but that's just that's just kind of a UW thing. All right. Shall we take a quick moment, if we can, to talk about the latest in the world of AfroMan?
Did you want to finish your thought about Richard Marx, though? Because I kind of...
Well, just that when we walked into the Elsinore Theater and I saw a poster that he was coming to play, I turned to Becca and said, he retweeted me once. Oh. And that's... My point is that, like, I've never... I post stuff on Instagram. I go on there. I'm a look at that thing every day, definitely. And I probably post something once a week, if not maybe more, but it just doesn't have, I almost have to remember to go check Instagram. Whereas something like Twitter, I didn't ever have to remind myself. I was kind of living on there. And then, I mean, I guess TikTok also has filled the void, except that's, as we've discussed on the show many times, that's purely like
spectator.
That's purely a spectator sport for me. I'm not a contributor in any way to that discourse. So, but yeah, but back to what you were saying, I do often forget that you're not on Instagram. I know you have a burner, but that's maybe for what, like TBTL, if you need to check on something. You're not on there the way
just to be
you don't even
clear,
have a burner.
I don't have a burner. By the way, I did not realize. Shoot. I don't want to turn this into sports talk. I really don't, because we've done too much
more
of that.
WBC?
But no, I turned on a baseball podcast yesterday, like a Seattle-based one, and they started with the first 15 minutes talking about the Sonics coming back to Seattle as if that's a done deal. I knew that there was some good news in that arena. I did not realize that people were just banking on it. Is this what you've been hearing as well?
Wait, about who? What?
About the Sonics coming back to Seattle?
I've been hearing that for 20 years. I did see.
No,
like,
I mean recently. I turned on a podcast yesterday, and it was like they're talking like it's done. They're coming.
Yeah,
they
I've
were
seen
celebrating.
Dave Softy Mahler saying it is a fait accompli. I saw that clip the other day. I guess I'm not to turn into sports talk, but I have such a complicated relationship with the idea of the NBA and the idea of them giving us a team again. And like, I don't know how, I would rather Seattle have a basketball team than not have a basketball team. I don't know what my level of interest is going to be when they come back. I'll only know when there is a team again. What I can tell you is in my youth, when I was blissfully unaware of the song All for Love from the Three Musketeers soundtrack, my obsession with and love for the Seattle Supersonics knew almost no bounds. It was possibly the centerpiece of my life. And when they went away, I was so bummed about it that something inside, like a pilot light went out. Something died inside of me. And I don't know if it's going to just like relight when we get a team again. So when I hear, which I did hear yesterday, that like it's a done deal, we're going to get a team, I kind of honestly don't know emotionally how I feel about that. Well, I should just be happy, but for some reason I'm not. I feel just kind of numb.
The reason I bring it up is, again, not and apologies to listeners who are done with Seattle sports talk for a while, but the only reason I brought it up was I was really shocked to hear that, because again, I knew that there was rumblings. I knew that the NBA was making some announcement, but then just to turn on a baseball podcast and hearing these two fellas just celebrating like it's happening. So I was like, oh, okay. And I was listening more, and then they said something that shocked me even more, and this is going to be laughable because you were just talking about this on the show the other day. You mentioned a burner account a second ago, and I don't have a burner account, but I think of Kevin Durant. I know I get my Kevin's KD confused.
No, you're doing well with that over the last 2 weeks.
And I think that, and now I can actually even remember the other guy's name that I confused him with. That's Garnett, right? And he's retired.
Yeah.
But I think that I guess I maybe thought Durant was retired as well or something like that, but these guys were talking about like he's actually in a position that if, or I guess when they come back, the team comes back, the Sonics come back, he could actually play at age 40 his final season in Seattle or something. But he's the guy who also has the burner accounts, though, right? Yes. I have the same guy. So, I'm not Kevin Duranting it, but also I guess that was just a lot of shocking news to me that he's still playing and that the Sonics are apparently coming back.
Well, and then I'm sure you picked this part up, or this was implied in what you were saying, but you're aware that Kevin Durant was a Seattle Supersonic.
Yeah, that's why they were kind of excited about that. Like
and
that I guess he always has been. Is he the guy? And I guess I did confuse him with somebody else, but like Seattle fans love him because he's kind of remained. Didn't he like refuse to let Oklahoma retire his jersey or something like that because he considered himself
have a vague
Sonic?
memory of something like that. Like I think he has been pretty steadfast in basically reminding people that Seattle had their basketball team stolen, which we always appreciate from a guy. Again, the whole thing, though, is just like, the idea that it's like, oh, wouldn't it be great, a Kevin Durant homecoming, he finishes as a Sonic. It's just like, it elides the fact that this league just absolutely just pwned the city of Seattle for no reason. And like, I can't let that go, I guess. I mean, I think I'm legitimately deeply bitter about it. And like for it to just become this like Sonics are back and we got KD and like we're grateful to David Silver, who definitely looks like he's trying to hunt down the Baudelaire orphans in a series of unfortunate events. I mean, have you ever seen a more upsetting person than David Silver? The whatever his job is, the president of the NBA. I mean, he is just The commissioner, don't get me back into Chickless Town, sir.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't even talking about
Michael
basketball.
Chiklis is my Dabney Coleman.
I was just thinking about Michael Chiklis, by the way. My brain wandered.
But like, so it's weird. Now again, maybe once they start playing games, and I've got a few Kalshi bets on it, maybe all will be forgiven, in my mind, and I'll just get sucked right back into the kind of competition of it all. But like, as of right now, it's a little bit hard for me to picture myself feeling the excitement around. There's another thing too. Now it is just really rocketing towards sports talk, but the NBA has changed drastically since I last followed it. Like the style of play, the rules of play, something called the Euro step. Oh. It looks to me like you're allowed to take 5 to 6 steps without dribbling now, which was not the case back when I was watching every single Sonics game of the year.
There are hoverboards involved, the kind with the wheels. How far can you roll before you have to dribble?
The Dallas Mavericks are starting an AI at power forward. There's just a lot has changed about it. And this sounds like I'm making way too much of this, but it's almost like a relationship. And you could be like deeply in love with someone and have and be have this very intense connection, and then things could fall apart, and then you could have many years apart, and then you might get together, or you might spend time together, and things might have just shifted fundamentally in a way that it can never really be retrieved, or can never go back to being how it was. And I guess we'll find out when Seattle gets a team. That's when I'll know, definitively, like if I'm back on board with this or not. But right now it's hard for.
What stage of your J-Lo Ben relationship are you in? Right? Don't they kind of keep giving it a shot, and then it sort of works, but then they realize that they've changed?
Are they? And we are definitely the show to go to for this, because we keep up on all of the hot goss. But did I dream that, or did I hear that they're back together
again since like the Super Bowl 2 or 3 years ago? Because I remember she was in his
the Dunkin' commercial,
Kings commercial, and that was like 3 years ago now, right? Because there have been 3 iterations
I think of that as
that.
Jordan Hudson commercial myself, but that's just me.
That was the second year. Unfortunately, that is like the rings of a tree for me. Like, I know how many years ago they were in a relationship, because I know the last Super Bowl commercial for Dunkin' was the fake 90s sitcom commercial where they youngified all of the actors from the 90s. The year before that was the bad Dun Kings reunion that brought Belichick and Jordan and other people into it. And the year before that was the original one, which had Matt Damon. No. Was it Tom Brady and Matt Damon, or was it just Matt Damon and him? And they
Michael
were like
Chiklis
in the studio. Michael Chiklis was definitely in there, and J-Lo was producing or something. And so all of that is to say, that's why I know. I think they were actually back together during shooting of that commercial 3 years ago.
It looks like they're not back together. Okay. Although here's what I'm going to just give you a quick round the horn,
please,
of the headlines. Let's see. E! News says why Jennifer Lopez says she has had to, quote, sit in the aftermath of the Ben Affleck divorce. The Daily Beast says Affleck's ex says she hated being in the middle of him and J-Lo. But then Jezebel says, I don't care what the divorce papers say. I still think Ben Affleck and J-Lo are endgame. And I love the use of endgame that way.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I'm really into that, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, I wish him the best. I wish everybody involved the best.
So did you, it sounds like you're hearing you've been hearing at least a little bit of sort of some rumblings around this AfroMan situation, right?
Me personally, yeah. So I just on social media, I saw some pretty stunning photos of him dressed up in all USA flag kind of a suit, a red and white and blue suit, sitting on the stand, I believe, and people saying things like, you gotta listen to his testimony. So I thought something really kind of wacky happened during testimony. It sounds like I might be wrong about that, but I was only partially aware of it until you sent me this article today.
This started popping up in my TikTok feed 2 days ago. All of a sudden, I'd heard about this, a few years ago when it happened. I had heard that the police in Ohio were, and by the way, AfroMan's the Because I Got High, song guy, that a number of years ago, back in I don't know, maybe 2020 or something, I don't know, sometime around there, basically the police in the town in Ohio where AfroMan lives, it was 2022 was when this raid happened. The police kind of kicked in AfroMan's door. They were there on a drug and kidnapping investigation. He was not even home, but apparently his now ex-wife and his children were there. He was on his way home from some concert or something, but he was really, really upset by this. And so there was never any charges filed. The local police, they came in and they grabbed some stuff, and apparently one of them disconnected his security camera, which seems weird to me and shady. Anyway, so that they were, as is the case when they go into someone's house, they all had guns ablazing. So no charges are ever filed. Apparently they were there, looking for something that didn't exist. And AfroMan took this, as any of us would, really personally. The difference between most of us and AfroMan is most of us would not be able to just immediately churn out an entire album about the topic, which he did in 2022. He called it Lemon Pound Cake. I guess it technically was released in 2023. The songs include, on Lemon Pound Cake, The Police Raid, a song called Lemon Pound Cake, a song called Why You Disconnect My Video Camera.
What's that one about?
It's unclear. A song called I'm skipping around because some of them are a little blue for our show.
Adult. I don't want your dad's ears to fall off.
Track 9. I know. I cannot believe I copped to it.
I know you have
all of the days.
I love the conversation that you
all
now have
days.
to have after
of
the
all
show.
the days. Track 9. Will you help me repair my door? That feels really direct.
Plea.
Let's just hear a little bit of, again, it does have the E. It has the explicit.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm just, everybody, earmuffs or whatever, be careful. I've not previewed this, but this is AfroMan, Will You Help Me Repair My Door, off the track Lemon Pound Cake.
Will you help me repair my gate? Will you help me repair my door? Did you find what you was looking for? Will you help me repair my gate and door?
What I love about AfroMan's songs is they all sound like a song I could easily write in 5 minutes, And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, there's something that is extremely accessible about the music because it just sounds like something that you're, not to play into the stereotype, although I will tell you the cover of the album Lemon Pound Cake is him holding a giant goblet with a marijuana leaf on it. And of course, he is the Because I Got High guy. But they all sound like songs that your friend could write while high in 5 minutes. And there's something very demystifying about that.
Like the Daniel. Well, this now is going to be insulting to Daniel Johnston as well, because I think the thing is they seem way more simple than they actually are or would be to write. But I was going to draw some sort of a Daniel Johnston comparison between these two, as far as just being able to crank things out, following a sort of pattern of songwriting.
Yeah. The song Lemon Pound Cake is the breakout hit from the album. It's got 1.7 million streams on Spotify as of today. And today is, by the way, when this is really blowing up because of what happened in the trial, which I'll tell you about in a minute. This thing about Lemon Pound Cake. So he did have security cameras in his house. And during the raid, one of the cops, who he has nicknamed Lemon Pound Cake.
He nicknamed him that. I wasn't sure about that. I got the impression that he found out that was his nickname. Okay.
No, he nicknamed him that because, and I've watched this footage now many times. I've watched the security footage. This cop, while coming into AfroMan's kitchen, by the way, there was an article, I want to say, either in the Times or another reputable paper, where they continue to refer to AfroMan as AfroMan and not by his real name, which is like Mark Foreman, I think, or something.
Yeah.
It's like upon third reference, he's still AfroMan.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Again, maybe it wasn't the Times, but it was another legit paper that just kept calling him AfroMan. They were just like, I thought we would probably go with his real name, but no, okay.
Well, can I actually pause on that for 1 second? Because I was thinking that same exact thought on that deep dive that the New York Times did
Joseph Foreman, by the way, not Mark Foreman.
Oh, okay. I can never say his name. Follicular. That's not his name.
Clavicular.
Clavicular. I noticed that on second, third, and every other reference after that, the New York Times stuck with clavicular, which
maybe that's their policy if it's somebody's sort of professional name,
right? Like Prince or something like that. You know what I mean? Maybe they would just always go with Prince. Anyway, it was just something that I had been thinking about too, about whatever their standards and rules are on that.
I bet you that's probably some kind of stylistic decision they've made, and it probably was the Times maybe that was calling him AfroMan instead of Joseph Foreman. But what happened was this police officer is in AfroMan's kitchen and he is brutally frame mugged by a lemon pound cake. Just absolutely mugged by this cake. No, what happens is this cop, and I think he's got his gun drawn, he just walks by this lemon pound cake that's under like a kind of a glass cloche and he looks at it. That's all he does. He looks at the lemon pound cake.
That's great.
I thought maybe he took a slice. I thought maybe he ate it. No. He looked at the lemon pound cake, which was enough for AfroMan to start calling this guy Lemon Pound Cake and then to write this song, Lemon Pound Cake, which is, and this is where it gets a little questionable about, you want to talk about.
The Adams County Sheriff kicked down my door. Then I heard the glass break.
This is the song Under the Boardwalk.
Yeah, it is.
Just like Lemon Pound Cake. Give it a minute. What's the, you got like the estate of Marvin Gaye suing Robin Thicke and Pharrell. It's like, is he allowed to just do this?
They found no kidnapping victims, just some lemon pound cake. Mama's lemon pound cake. It tastes so nice. It made the sheriff wanna put down his gun and cut him a slice. Of what? Lemon pound cake. He wanna put down his Glock. Lemon pound cake. Trending on TikTok. Lemon pound cake. He's a family guy. Lemon pound cake. Munchies because he got hot. Lemon pound cake. Pound cake.
I mean, you gotta give the guy credit for somebody with, again, it would appear fairly rudimentary musical skills. He's got an ear for how to put this together.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that. So now because I read that article that you sent me, I think from the Post, and I was like, oh, I wonder why this cop's nickname is Lemon Pound Cake. And Luke, as you love to say, asked and answered.
Yes,
very well.
One of my favorite
So it
phrases.
was him coining it, which actually explains a lot. Now,
by the way, just quickly, it's a testament to AfroMan's like sort of genius for this stuff, because I would have never even noticed him glancing at the lemon pound cake, and I certainly would have thought it was enough to build an entire nickname around identity and then trending album on Spotify. Like, he just saw this one glance from the dude and he was like, yep, that's gonna work. We got him.
I'm trying to figure out, like, is there, like, I didn't remember this, but I guess it's the Drifters that did Under the Boardwalk. And
yes,
so I'm trying to figure out, like, how is this not, I mean, maybe just because it's one of those things where it's low level enough. He's not making tons of money on this, and it's just like he
claimed in court he's made less than $24,000 from the album, but that was before the resolution of the case. He's really having a moment right now. So that would have been like leading up to all of this. You're right though, like, how is it that, like, if I use a chord progression that feels too close to somebody else's in my song, I could get sued, but I could also just record Under the Boardwalk with different lyrics, and apparently nobody's coming for AfroMan.
My guess is it didn't rise to that level, and my guess is he's just asking for forgiveness instead of permission, because I think if like Weird Al did this, like, he has to clear all those songs. I know that there's a certain, and again, I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I do think from talking about this over the years with you, there are, even for parody, like, you still have to get permission if you're just making music using somebody else's tune and changing the lyrics, right?
You know what? I actually don't think so, but I think, God, why do I continue to talk about things that I don't really know the details of? I have this vague sense in the back of my mind that Weird Al, because of the rules around parody, and by the way, this comes into play in this AfroMan trial. I thought I had a vague memory of him actually not needing permission, but him asking for permission as a sort of a courtesy.
Oh, and just to make maybe life easier on him.
Yeah, but now I can't remember who, but I think Prince might have been the only person who like wouldn't give him permission. Like my memory is that he would ask Weird Al would ask permission. My other memory is that I don't think it was because he needed it legally. It was kind of just because he wanted to, I guess, be in his own way respectful. And that famously there was someone who was being unfun, and I don't remember who that someone was. We know it wasn't Michael Jackson.
I was about to say. I was going to joke and say, was it Michael Jackson?
We know it wasn't. We know it wasn't Kurt Cobain because he's got a Nirvana one in there.
Yeah, I did have that.
We know it wasn't Flo Rida.
We know it wasn't Coolio.
We know it wasn't Coolio. Amish Paradise. We know it wasn't Flo Rida because of White and Nerdy, his cover of Ride and Dirty.
Right.
So I guess. Okay, so AfroMan makes this album, and he does a million online posts where he is just going after the specific police officers who did the raid. He is accusing some of them in both song and post of being, of stealing his money. There was this other issue, which is that they confiscated $4,000 from his house, and then when they gave it back to him, it was $3,600, and he was really mad about this $400, as would any of us be. And the there was apparently an investigation, and the official sort of report was that the police officer in question miscounted the money when he put it in, so it was never $4,000, it was $3,600. And that's why what came out of the evidence locker was not the same as what was listed as going into the evidence locker. That is, I find that not compelling personally. Nor did AfroMan, who did many songs about it and accused that guy of being a thief. He accused one of the other cops of being a pedophile. He got there was a female police officer who he was calling into question her gender and saying a lot of stuff about her that honestly is really pretty gross. And in fact, this is where this gets slightly more complicated. Because on the one hand, I don't like the cops kicking down people's doors, terrorizing their families, and doing this kind of Gestapo stuff with their, I'm sure, like $100,000 up-wrapped, SWATman mobile vehicles outside of AfroMan's house for no reason when it's just like his wife and daughters in there. I hate all of this, and I don't like it when the police do this. But on the other hand, there is a part of the trial where they're playing in court. They're playing one of the AfroMan songs, and this female police officer, is just sobbing as she's listening to it.
Am I right that he was playing a video where another woman was depicted as her doing sexual acts on another woman?
It's the music video for the song.
Yeah.
And she's just this woman. This police officer is clearly very, very upset by this, and this person is not like a professional actor. She's not doing this for effect. By the way, I think they were suing. The police officers together, was like 7 or 8 of them, were suing AfroMan for, slander, or for whatever the technical term for it was, defamation, I guess, to the tune of, I want to say, like $3.5 million, somewhere north of $3 million. And AfroMan's lawyer, his whole point was, this is protected speech because it's parody, it's exaggeration, it's art, it's free speech. He can say whatever he wants. These are not private facts about you that he is exposing to the world. And the other thing I actually didn't love about AfroMan's attorney's, by the way, successful defense of AfroMan, was he just basically said, everything is a lie. The media is a lie. We don't believe. Do you believe anything in the newspaper? And of course, most people in this part of Ohio, unfortunately, are like, no, it's all made up. So he was constantly interviewing the police officer saying, do you believe what you see on the internet? And they'd be like, no. Do you believe what you read in the paper or you see on TV? No. Well, then why would you think other people would believe my client, AfroMan, when he raps that you're a pedophile or that you that he had sex with your wife, which is one of the things that he said about another one of these police officers. And ultimately, the jury found this compelling. He was found not liable for this on any count. And I mean, the testimony from AfroMan that's been going around, which I don't have right in front of me, but I can paraphrase it. He basically said, like, I believe it was the plaintiff's attorney said, like, do you regret ruining the lives of these police officers or this one police officer? And I believe the one who was crying, and AfroMan said, if they wouldn't have come to my house and kicked in my door, none of this would have happened. I wouldn't know their names. There would be no lawsuit. So because of that, I don't regret this because I didn't create this problem. They did, which, by the way, is, I think, a reasonable argument from him.
I find that
I was a little surprised. I feel like the plaintiff's attorney was not good at his job because, for one thing, he let AfroMan talk a lot on cross-examination just about AfroMan's theories of free speech and the fact that they brought this to him and this shouldn't be his problem, which, by the way, all, I think, fair things. But if I'm not an attorney. We do have a lot of attorneys that listen. Maybe they can hip me to this. But I feel like you want to be doing a lot of, like, objection, Your Honor. Like, you want to kind of, like, lock AfroMan into some statements that might help your case, but not just give him like free reign. This guy's a professional entertainer. He was also, by the way, dressed head to toe in like an American flag crazy looking suit. He had sunglasses. I don't know if he was allowed to wear the sunglasses on the stand, but he had them like up on his head. Like, he was very much playing this up for sort of an entertainment thing. And I just thought that the plaintiff's attorney did a bad job of like allowing him to really go off on how unfair this whole thing was. And again, it was clearly persuasive for the jury because they found him not liable. AfroMan for the W.
Yeah, the story is sort of a mess because you start reading and you're just like, oh, well, Team AfroMan, right? And then you're looking at the attacks that he's making on these people and you're like, oh, I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, don't love the way you're striking back on this, but then you just immediately swing back to, yeah, but like, unfortunately, we have a justice system where there's rarely justice for the people who are victimized by cops, and usually black people who are victimized by cops. And it just happens every day so many times. I believe 100% that those cops took that $400, and I believe that they do that shit all the time without repercussion. And so the fact that, so I also don't spend a lot of time like weeping for these police officers. It's, you know, again, these type of attacks on sexuality and as I think the Post said it, like talking about her genitals or like what, like all that stuff is like pretty gross to me, and I don't really like that. I don't spend a lot of time, you know, again, kind of weeping for them because I do sort of find his argument like, well, then don't kick down my door. I do sort of find that compelling. I guess I'm also surprised. When I first read this morning, I'm like, okay, the songs, I understand why the songs maybe didn't stand up as actually something that was damaging to the police officers, because in a certain way, I agree with what you're saying about the like kind of leaning on the distrust of the media. Like that's kind of just kind of like, let's not reinforce that.
I listened to a lot of his attorney and I was like, I hate this guy's argument right now.
Having said that, in the context of an album, though, like even in the tradition of like, let's say 90s hip hop or whatever, like there were always like kind of parodies, you know what I mean? I'm thinking of like the Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg era where there would be skits in between, and it was very clear that there would be, I think, maybe I'm making this up, but maybe parodying certain kinds of people or like there's this like, I don't think anybody is listening to this record thinking, oh, AfroMan had an affair with this police officer's wife. I think that's pretty clearly an insult that one makes when one wants to get a rise out of somebody, and that is what is happening musically here. I was more surprised about like the T-shirts. They said something like he was.
Oh, I don't know about the T-shirts.
Oh, this was, and again, I'm let me double check this because I was reading this piece you sent me, but it said something like along with the videos, I think it said he made T-shirts that featured the faces of the officers, or at least pound cake, I think, and was selling them here. In numerous Instagram posts, the rapper promoted his album and tour with T-shirts that featured the faces of the deputies, including the one he dubbed Police Officer Pound Cake. So I assume that these T-shirts were for sale, unless he was just wearing them, and that's different.
Well,
but
he is not about monetizing this stuff.
No,
AfroMan
right.
is not.
So I'm like, okay, but selling T-shirts with people's faces on it, and we'll even just say police officers of the law faces on it, that could potentially put a target on their back. I was like, I am kind of surprised that stood up in court. I wonder if, and the article I read didn't get into this, and you're way more read up on it than I am, but I wonder if that's because if I take a photo in my house, that's my photo. And if I take a photo of a guest in my house or somebody in my house, I should be able to put that on a T-shirt. And I wonder, you know what I mean? It's not like he took photos of these people doing personal things in their home. He has a security system. That's a camera.
If you're inside his house looking at his pound cake.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's your camera in the same way that my Nikon is my camera. Only they work differently. But you could say that's my art, and this is a photo I took inside my house. And if you weren't in here, you wouldn't be on this T-shirt. So I was mostly shocked about that kind of a harassment, like the stuff that is not necessarily even just in the lyrics of the album, but like clearly like trying to like make these people's faces recognizable. I was kind of surprised that stood up. But again, I'm not losing any sleep over these cops because I just think that they'll do it again tomorrow to somebody else.
You know what else I think is part of this is at this very moment, and I know the cops and ICE are not exactly the same, but there is just this feeling of elevated impunity, of just like, you know, I mean, this is something that any thinking person has known since, you know, the formation of this country. But particularly in the last 20 years, and particularly maybe for white people being more aware of it a little bit in the last 20, 30 years, of just like the way that the cops get to come in, do whatever they want. Generally, they write the police report, which is the official record of the event. And then it is nearly impossible to ever, you know, there was just, I mean, not to get overly dark with it, but there was just a case in Oregon where you had a DEA agent who decided, he was in an unmarked car, and there was a DEA pursuit of someone who was suspected to be a drug dealer. And this guy was not leading the pursuit. He was just he was trying to catch up to the pursuit in his unmarked car. And he decides to run, this is in Salem, Oregon, he decides to run a stop sign, and he kills a 53-year-old mother who worked for, I think, the state of Oregon, and I think worked in forestry, was a beloved member of the community. And basically, the reason I'm thinking of this is because the DOJ has just, after pursuing charges against this guy for years and losing in court because of blanket, essentially, immunity because he was doing law enforcement, has finally said, we can't pursue this anymore. We've lost this like 3 different times in court. My point in that, and that's a very, very serious example, but it's just like this overwhelming feeling of like, these people can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and there's almost never justice. That when you hear about somebody getting some justice, or at least when you hear about AfroMan being able to push back against the system, it's such a triumphant feeling until you then get into like some of the specific songs that he's releasing and how much I don't agree with that. And that is my way of saying, as we've said on the show for many years, shit be complicated.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad, I said shit.
Yeah, I've been teaching them new words, Walt.
You know?
I started reading this article with a little bit more of a lighthearted mindset, I think, just having seen images of him in court and not really, and you know, seeing that like the people were rising up to support AfroMan, right? And one of the first like sort of offenses that I saw listed was like one of the officers was, I guess, complaining or at least noting that he had been sent, as the Post put it, a plethora of pound cakes at work because of his nickname.
He said he had received hundreds of pound cakes.
And so at first I'm kind of like, well, that's not so bad. Like I would take some of those pound cakes. In fact, this is like one of those things. I don't know if you're sorry to take it to commercial town again. I can think of one example of this, but like sometimes you're watching a commercial for something like insurance, but it makes you want something else instead. Like there's currently a Progressive commercial on right now that's selling insurance, but they're eating pizza in it, and it made me want pizza really bad the other night.
Good.
Remember the bath bomb commercial with Mahomes, and it was for like a different insurance group or whatever.
State Farm,
State
probably.
Farm. He's just dropping bath bombs into a tub. I was just kind of like, I don't need the insurance, but for the first time ever, I'm kind of really intrigued by
the
idea
Andy
of these
Reid
bath
Nugs
bombs.
commercial had me
right?
had me fricked up for years.
Exactly. So the big takeaway from me for this story is I kind of really am in the mood for some lemon cake. But it is one of those stories where it's kind of like, oh, these cops say they're being harassed. Oh, they're receiving cake at work. Oh, too bad. And then like as you read it, and you're like, oh, there's a lot more like darker implications here. What's going on? And like you say, I don't believe for a moment that officer was, you know, what is it? crying alligator tears. Is it crocodile tears or alligator?
Crocodile tears.
Did I say alligator?
In Australia, it's crocodile tears, and over here, it's alligator tears.
And that means fake tears, right? Anyway.
Yes.
So, I believe that, so it's just a really messy story.
There is definitely a range, because I think I watched clips of the testimony of most of the cops, and there was a range of how bad I felt for them, ranging from not at all, which was most of them, including pound cake, to pretty bad for the female officer.
Yeah.
Like, that was the bummer. Honestly, if not for that part, if you would have left that part out, I would have absolutely zero sympathy, because when these guys are, like, one of them was being interviewed, and this is, by the way, AfroMan's lawyer also, like, just this, like, weird looking white dude with like a thunderous beard who just like seems like exactly the lawyer that AfroMan would hire. Like, everybody in this case seemed like they were out of central casting, but like his attorney was basically, cross-examining not pound cake, but one of the other guys. And the guy who AfroMan had said, he slept with the guy's wife. And that guy was like, the AfroMan's attorney was like, how was he framing it exactly? He was basically doing an attorney thing, which is he was trying to say, like, did AfroMan sleep with your wife? And his point was that, like, everyone knows he didn't sleep with your wife. This is a brag in a song. And the guy was like, he better not have. And it was like, has your wife been unfaithful with AfroMan? He goes, we met in middle school. Like, the guy was just like such a dingus that, like, that guy I feel zero sympathy for.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy that guy got no money. I do feel bad for the female officer, because she was clearly very, very traumatized by this.
Yeah, and just my feeling, I just can't separate it from my feelings about, like, the absolute unchecked power of cops in this country now, too. And just the horrific things that cops are saying about the people that they're supposed to be serving and protecting all the time. Because when we get the tiniest little glimpse of it on a dash cam camera that a Seattle cop forgets to turn off
after he kills someone,
or his partner kills somebody, or not,
and he's calling them low value.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when we just hear and literally admits that they just forgot to turn off their cameras. It's a specific example that is pretty huge here in Seattle, or big on the minds here in Seattle. It's just like you just know that is just not even the tip of the iceberg, too. So like that's the other thing. And I'm sure that the most degrading things that happen in jails when people are pulled in, and again, and not not even-handedly either, I'm sure, based on race, the way they treat people. So anyway, this is a people's win. I didn't even realize, I mean, this is where I'm bad at legal stuff. Like, oh, you mentioned the jury. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, well, good thing this was a jury trial. You know what I mean? Like, this might be different if it's a judge ruling, but this is is the people talking, I feel like, and maybe that's a good sign.
There's apparently a different police department that has the same name. It's Adams County, which is pretty. In fact, I believe we were in Adams County for our thon last year in Wisconsin. I think there's a lot of Adams counties, but there was a different police department apparently that had the similar name that was being deluged with calls and pound cakes.
You know what?
And it wasn't even the right.
I'm changing the name of my studio to the Adams County Podcast Studio that loves cake.
Take a little free pound cake.
We was hoping for some razzle dazzle.
Razzle dazzle.
That's right, man. Razzle dazzle.
On your mark.
On your mark.
Get set.
Get set.
Now ready.
Ready. Go.
Everybody razzle dazzle.
All right. We have not released any albums on Spotify recently that are rocketing to the top of the charts. So we are going to have to continue to fund this program by way of donations. And today we're going to thank a couple of dazzling donors. They're donating a dazzling amount of dough. That's the financial lifeblood of this operation. It's how this is my job and Andrew's job and John Sklaroff's job. And it's thanks to folks like our friend Anna Anafi in Seattle, Washington.
There's a note here that Anna says they know how to pronounce it, but I do. Anna is a friend of mine. I was just on Anna's porch yesterday, by the way, or the day before. I don't know if that creeps any listeners out. She knows now. No, I was dropping some stuff off.
Well, that security camera is fair game. Wait to be on a T-shirt, buddy.
Yes, that would be awesome. We volunteer together, but I think I know it's Anna Anafi, but I get nervous because when I used to have to ask my Google Maps how to get to her house to drop something off, the map pronounces it differently. Or if you have to text her or something, you're like, hey, Google, text Anna Anafi, it'll be like Anna fee, and so
yeah.
then it gets in your head. And do you ever do this thing where you start pronouncing it like the robots do because you want to make it as smooth as possible?
Who was I talking to about this? Was it on the show or off the air? Somebody was saying how they have to. Oh, I think it was actually it was Elena. We were doing Livewire, and she was saying how she had set her mapping thing to an Australian accent because she just thought it was funny. But then she would have to say certain things in a weird accent for it to interpret
right.
basically what she wanted it to do. I forget the particular example, but where was I? There was something else about. Oh, my dad, Andrew. He's downstairs right now, so I can say this.
Okay, here, let me kill this.
You want to talk about pronunciation variations? My dad is the guy who brought you latte.
Oh yeah,
for latte.
Right.
He's the guy who brought you Home Depot. Only person I've ever met who puts the emphasis on home.
Mm-hmm.
Home Depot. And the other day we were talking about Elon Musk, and he called Doge Doge.
I love that.
He called it Doge. And I thought, where in the world did you get that from?
That's a man who reads the news more than watches it, maybe?
I think that's part of it. I think he pictured the word in his head, and he saw the E. There's an E on Doge, right? It's D-O-D.
It's just D-O-G-E, right?
D-O-G-E?
Yeah, I think.
And I think he just looked at the word Doge, and he thought, okay, we'll give this a shot. And again, it kind of checks out if you think about how he says latte sometimes.
Yeah.
He just went with the Doge, and I'm still grappling with that.
I think that's going to be how we pronounce
it's kind
it
of
going
great, actually,
forward. Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Anna Anafi says, hi, hello, business boys. I'm continuing to dazzle you because of your continued engagement with us tens. Thank you. What a year. I got laid off, but with a great severance package. Nice. Now I'm an independent contractor. Sirius Quality Consulting, LLC. By the way, Sirius, and this is spelled S-C-I-U-R-U-S, pronounced Doge. Sirius is Latin for squirrel. I won't plug my business as I doubt any of the tens are looking for help with GXP computerized system validation and management. Well, Anna, you don't know. You would be surprised at how many of our listeners are in the market for GXP computerized system validation and management.
I will take literally any kind of validation, including that kind.
GXP, GLP-1, I don't care. Validate away. Anna says, I appreciate the encouraging words from fellow tens. On the Slack page, many of us were on the job hunt. Yeah, I don't feel like that's going away anytime soon. I'm always, I'm very much thinking about and rooting for our friends and listeners and maybe even donors who are on the job hunt, because it's a weird time out there. Some things are not responding. The stock market seems to be, for some delusional reason, holding relatively stable. You hear about all kinds of indicators of basically the fact that Trump is torching the economy. But I'm glad, Anna, that you got a good severance package and that you have now hung your shingle with Sirius Quality Consulting.
Absolutely.
I'm generally full of rage at gestures at everything. See previous comments, by the way. But I'm happy to have this community of like-minded folks who want to stand up for those under constant attack. I currently, as of February 2026, Anna had to timestamp when this was sent because it can change by the hour.
I love that.
I currently believe AfroMan will be exonerated.
How did she
on all
know?
I don't know. It's all that GXP computerized system validation that Anna's been doing.
Yeah.
I currently believe we are at the stage of needing to burn it all down and start it over in order to dismantle white supremacy. Well, that probably wasn't where you wanted this message to go. Hey, Anna, it's your dime. To end on a good note, I did enjoy the Seahawks victory parade today.
Oh, that's a real timestamp. We know exactly where and when Anna sent
or as
this.
Andrew calls it, Diner Cry Reading Day.
That's right.
Now let's go, Mariners. Your friend, Anna. Well, Anna, we appreciate all your friendship over the years and your support of the show and being part of the Tens community and helping out with the pop-up and clearing drains in your neighborhood so that there's not flooding.
Right.
That's a whole, TikTok That's a whole corner of TikTok that I've enjoyed at times, Andrew, which is just people that go around their neighborhood finding those clogs and then clearing them.
See, that is so much better than Dr. Pimple Popper or that kind of stuff. Like you're getting, you're still getting a sense of release without having to be icky about it.
I've got a tight 5 on Dr. Pimple Popper. The problem is, season 1, it was pimples being popped, but because we have to constantly increase profits and increase viewership and increase like the kind of spectacle of what we're doing, she soon moved on to not even popping pimples, just removing, things that are medically not a pimple. Certain polyps and like, I forget the exact term for them, but like things that are under your skin, but that are not a pimple, that are like a cyst or other kinds of very large, and it's not as it's weird. It's medically not the same. It's not a pimple being popped, and I won't stand for it. It's like a minor surgery that's removing something else that's under the skin, under the derma.
For me, it was when she started popping Southern Fried Chicken flavored pimples. It was just like, we've gone too far.
And it was
with
a tie-in
this.
with KFC.
Exactly. It's just like we've gone way too far on this whole flavor blasting thing.
Is KFC, as far as you know, and Taco Bell, they are owned by the PepsiCo, right?
That's yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would have spat that at you right off the top of my dome.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I talk now.
Yeah.
But yes, because you see those combined stores, right?
Yes.
And they always are Pepsi product stores. Yeah,
Yes.
that's all the same company, huh?
It was really embarrassing the other day. So Becca and I were driving back from Salem. It was on Sunday. And she said something to me that was surprising. She goes, I am dying for a fountain Diet Coke. She's like, I really want a fountain Diet Coke. And I was like, well, we have an hour drive on I-5. There are going to be plenty of places. And so as we're going down the freeway, I'm narrating based on the signs if it's a Coke or a Pepsi store. Like if it's a restaurant that does Coke or Pepsi. And I'm like, oh, those guys? I'm like, oh, no, they're not doing Coke. I was like, it was crazy how much knowledge I had about fast food chains and what their soda setting was. And I was like, and there was I think there was a Taco Bell or a Pizza Hut. And I was like, well, they're just owned by Pepsi. And she's like, how do you know this much about what kind of soda they're going to have at the fast food? And I'm like, a life well lived.
You're like, I'm well read. Can I lay one on you? Because this is a real question. This isn't a quiz. Because I should know, but it's been a while since I've been in one. What would Subway be? Because they seem to be there. I feel like they only have Starry for some reason. I don't even know why.
They have Starry, and then they have a liquefied Sun Chips.
Yeah, right. Like that's all they have.
Well, that's a great question. I don't think that here's what it is. I don't think that they are a Pepsi only. So that makes me think they must have Diet Coke. But for some reason, I do associate them weirdly with Starry and like other odd soda offerings.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that they're probably contracting with the Coca-Cola company, because mostly what I've clocked are the places where you can't get Coke products. And again, that's very much a Taco Bell thing. That's a KFC thing. I think that might be a Burgerville thing.
Burgerville.
So it's more the ones that are Pepsi than the ones that are. So if I can't think of it being a Pepsi, then my sense is it's probably defaulting to Coke. I feel like Subway also has a weird raspberry, a raspberry
lemonade or a raspberry
tea kind of a thing.
Tea, that's what I meant to say.
There's something on there that's strange.
So was Pizza Hut famously one or the other? Like was Pizza Hut famously Pepsi?
I don't know what it was before it was acquired. I think that Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC have been Pepsi for a long time. And what it was sort of this vertical integration where it was like Pepsi was like, well, this is already where we're selling most of our fountain Pepsi in America. We'll just buy it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they were a Pepsi product place before PepsiCo bought them. I could be totally wrong about that timing.
Yeah, and of course I thought of it because obviously it's Pepsi now because there's all the jokes and even the song.
Yes.
is that
I'm at the
Das
Pizza Hut. I'm at the
Racist
Taco
that does
Bell.
it?
I'm at the Das Racist.
Das
Good
Racist.
memory.
Yeah. So anyway, those are just like basically just Pepsi-owned fast food restaurants. So okay, let's just finish this though quickly. So
Please.
a
This ends
go-to
now.
Coke place obviously is McDonald's. We talk about that a lot.
That's
They have
where we
a special
went.
Coke. And then what else would you go to though? What else is like a solidly Coke place that you can go to off the highway?
I think Burger King.
Okay.
is maybe Coke.
That seems to scan for me. I feel like I would have.
It would be
if
bold if Burger King was like, we are going to counter program so hard against McDonald's that we're not even going to have Coke products. That's a big deal for some people. Like if you you're really, really not at that point. You're like, we are a stark alternative to McDonald's.
Can I tell you, I had I went to a Burger King with Genevieve. It was sometime over the holidays. Okay, it was the one on Aurora for whatever that's worth. And I hadn't been to a Burger King.
The
in a
one
long
that's
time.
across from the Sprouts.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know I peed my pants in that Burger King?
No, I'm surprised I don't know that.
Well, that's not true. I peed my pants in preschool at Pillar of Fire. Dad, was I in preschool or kindergarten at that weird Pillar of Fire school? Kindergarten, maybe? I think it was Remember when you made me that Pharaoh hat for the musical? I think it was kindergarten. And I peed my pants at school because the teacher wouldn't let me go to the bathroom until I finished this work page. I remember the work page, too. It was circle the things that start with the letter K. I couldn't hold it. Did not self-report for having peed my pants. Cut to me and my mom, and probably my little sister Liz, who's a baby at that time, are in that Burger King you're talking about. On Aurora. And my mom says, it smelled like somebody peed their pants. And I said, not me. In the Burger King that you are referencing at about 135th in Aurora.
Yeah, well, I was going to say,
whatever it is.
and this is not, I'm not even joking, although I think we would have heard about it if it had been the latter. But when you said, I peed my pants in that Burger King, I literally didn't know if you meant as a child growing up or as an
Could've
adult
happened.
having
like me
some
and
fun
Camaro
times.
Kev.
Yeah, because that would be
just on the war
that
path.
would be the stretch of troublemaking, I would think.
So
or, you know
we're
what I
coming
mean?
down from Oh No, Mr. Bills.
Yes.
Watching a UFC fight, getting torqued up. Yeah.
So I'm actually relieved, as you were probably as you were filling out that worksheet. I am relieved to hear that you were a kid then. But what was I going to say? Well, this is the very, very. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But while we're talking about fast food, I am in love with the T-shirts that they have their employees wearing now. I actually said to the employee,
brown ones?
they're just like straight kind of a beigeish brown with an old school like BK logo, but it's that really minimal BK. You know what I mean? It's not like all over. It's not huge. It's just like centered, like kind of respectfully right in the middle of the chest. And I even said to the guy, I'm like, I love your shirt. And he looked down and he's like, yeah, they give these to us or something. And I was like, well, can I buy one? He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, he was nice enough, but he was also fielding questions.
So it's the old school Burger King logo where it says Burger King kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so. Is it kind of between a bun? Like it's kind of the logo?
I think of it as the Hungry Jack logo from Australia, but okay.
Oh, sure, right. But like,
remember that.
Are you seeing it actually in a T-shirt form
yes,
here? Because
I'm looking at it right now.
It's well placed. Like, you know what I mean?
It's cool.
Like, it's just like a very kind of austere presentation during an age where everything is like a little bit, I think, over
visual blasted.
Exactly. Yeah. Too much graphics.
No, I like it. This is a
Can
nice.
you buy it? Are you looking?
You can. I'm looking at it right now on something called printervol.com. I'm sure there's other more reputable places, but yeah, you can definitely get that T-shirt in some places. And yeah, I like that retro. I mean, that's a solid logo. And the reason I reference Hungry Jack, if you haven't been to Australia like Andrew and I have, that's what they call Burger King there. And all of the branding is exactly the same, except for instead of Burger King, it just says Hungry Jack.
Yeah, literally. Well, I was going to say literally is the first thing you did.
It
Yeah, it was because it was before we rented our car, right? We were
there's a picture of me in the airport. Can I maybe this?
Yeah,
could be
we
the show
haven't
pic.
even left the airport yet to rent the car. And
I'm posing under the Hungry Jack logo because I was so taken with it, and then I believe I ordered whatever their veggie burger sandwich was there too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Anna, for supporting the show and being such an awesome person. Maestro.
On your mark. On your mark. Get set. Get set. Now ready. Ready. Go. Everybody rattle.
Look who it is. It's David Samut. He's in Woodland, California, not Woodland Hills, where my dad lived, but Woodland, California. David says, I can't believe it's been a year since my last dazzling message where you gents so eloquently read my promotion for the island of Malta.
I gotta admit, I don't remember that. I was hoping you did.
I love that happened. This year, I'd like to promote an area in the central High Sierra Mountains known for its quiet, laid-back charm. Calaveras County is home to some amazing small towns, each offering their own bits of California history. Andrew, for some reason, I don't know if it's David Samut related, you and I on the show have been, Google mapping around, walking the streets of Calaveras County, I believe. At some point. I don't know why this came up. Maybe a different donor, maybe something David related. For some reason, I was looking around Calaveras County on the show. Hey, Dad, check out that big old Navy ship going by. That's pretty cool.
Just set up some new rules about who's allowed in the studio when you're doing the show. Now, this is not related at all to you and I driving, because I've never done like the real Redwood tourism sort of, but there was one time you and I were on a road trip. I think it was in the Delica, but I might be wrong about that. But
I think that's the time that we in the RV. In the RV, we didn't go down to California. I think we kind of went diagonal.
Yeah,
right?
I think we would have gone more
I think
diagonal.
The Delica was when we went directly south.
Because didn't we get out of the car and pose next to a big thing of Paul Bunyan or something?
Yes,
yes,
I also
remember
have photos
that.
of that.
Okay.
I think that's actually. Is that technically in Oregon? Is that the Trees of Mystery?
Ooh.
I think that's called the Trees of Mystery, where it's got the huge Paul Bunyan. And we took a picture there. I actually love that picture. It's pretty funny.
And I really, honestly, that was my only glimpse of that kind of redwood forest that you hear about, literally growing up, especially growing up in an area where you don't have that kind of thing. And it really does. When I think about that, I'm like, ooh, that was just a moment that we had on our way to somewhere else when we were kind of in a hurry. I would love to actually go and be able to drink more of that in.
Yeah, absolutely. David said, he's promoting Calaveras County. He says it's home to some amazing small towns, each offering their own bit of California history. You can visit Calaveras Big Trees State Park. Look at that, Andrew.
See? This is what I'm talking about.
Which I'm told, next to Yosemite National Park, has the largest groves of sequoias that you can spend a day wandering through. Not far from the park is the town of Murphy's, with a charming main street with many wine tasting rooms. A bit further down the hill, you will come to the town of Angels Camp, probably best known for its annual frog jumping competition.
Okay, now wait a second here.
Now
okay,
that's horning in on your action, sir.
I was loving this, absolutely loving this. But you have to remember, David, I am from Valley City, Ohio, the frog jump capital of America. I'm not saying other towns can't do it, but let's just keep the framing in there. We are the frog jump capital of America.
Bump, ba-dum, bump, 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 bump. The competition made famous by Mark Twain. Back up the hill, you'll find the small town of Dorrington, where Shelley and I are still building. Oh, yes, David's building a house in the mountains. Wow. Listen, David, as you'll hear with my dad in the background, installing the sink here in the studio that's been... Dad, how long has the sink been here probably uninstalled? 2 years. 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. That's just for a sink. David, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. They're still building their damn house in the mountains. Hopefully it will be completed soon. Luke, am I kidding myself? Yes, David, you are kidding yourself. But that's okay. Yep. That's part of the, this has been for me, and I am a very impatient person by nature. This has been a great exercise in me learning a little bit of patience, and it's very rewarding now. My dad and I will sit around in the house just kind of like admiring different corners of the place that are very different than when we started out here, I don't know, however many years ago, in 3.5 years ago. It helps to have the institutional memory right now underneath the kitchen island, listening to my half of the show.
I'm going to say, Andrew. I'm happy to. I mean, it sort of sounds like the two of you.
We kind of got something going.
You kind of
here.
got something going. For some reason, you have a good rapport, the two of you. You have chemistry.
Yeah, right?
I don't know where that comes from.
Just could be hours and hours and hours and weeks and weeks and weeks spent together on this project. So, David, good luck on the place I think it's in Calaveras. And thank you for all of the support, and hope that TBTL is keeping you company as you work on various projects up there. Thanks again. We couldn't do this without you.
There's a right way to rock and a wrong way to roll. You can just listen to your soul. Just remember that life is number one. You can be having so much fun. Just remember that life is much fun. You can be number one.
You know, I complain about AI a lot on this show, at least in its current incarnation and the way it's being marketed now and sort of forced upon us. But when I think about, and I don't know for sure, Luke, if this is actually AI, but I feel like it must have something to do with it. The fact that you were able to find and send me a photo of you standing in front of a Hungry Jack's fast food sign on your phone.
Yes.
From, this was, how many years ago did we go to Australia? I mean, a long time ago now, years and years ago now, right?
Yeah.
The idea that you can just, I assume you used some sort of search term.
Well, this is the even wilder part. So I just put in Australia.
Yeah.
Which, that should have narrowed it down, but for some reason, I don't know why, but the phone didn't realize that photo was taken in Australia. So then I just searched for anything that had hungry in it.
Uh-huh.
And it just showed me pictures of me and Becca and Addie eating at different times. And then the hungry and the Hungry Jack sign. That's what it found. It did not figure out that was, where did we fly into? Melbourne or something? Whatever airport we flew into in Australia. It didn't know that the photo was taken in Australia, but it did know that the word hungry was in it. Isn't that crazy?
Well, yes, and that's what I was going to say. Even in the digital era, I just like every now and then when I'm reminded of the brilliance of a technology, or like the kind of how much this I don't even remember anybody like being like super excited like, hey, did you know you can search for photos now using words? Although I do know where I was the first time I learned it. I think I learned it from Nora McInerney at a radio conference. But like we've just gotten used to that. Like even in the digital era, the idea of without labeling it yourself, without like loading the photos off of your phone and then renaming them Luke at Hungry Jack's Australia, the fact that phones can just like use words to find images that have not been labeled is incredible.
Insane.
Did we fly into a place called Adelaide?
Maybe. I mean, considering it's my daughter's name,
yes,
I feel like that would have really, there would be a lot of pictures of the airport signs that I would have been sending back home.
That is where we flew in, though. Yeah,
we flew into Adelaide.
We flew into Adelaide, then drove down to Kingston, SE, because that's where the lobster was.
Yes, Lenny
and then
the
we
lobster.
Larry, I want to say.
Larry the lobster.
And then we started driving back up north. The reason I know this is because I kept all of our little stops on Google Maps. So when I open up Google Maps, zoom out all the way, and then swing on over to Australia, you can see our path just marching straight up the continent.
Up the Stewart Highway.
What a world. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to, because I do talk a lot of smack about technology, I wanted to say that's pretty incredible. And also, this is a great photo, and we will use it as the show.
You've got to give it a put. If you're going to give it a put down, you got to occasionally give it a put up.
Yeah, 2 put ups, exactly. All right, let's do some Blur's Days here. This is the way it works. If you want to wish yourself or somebody else a happy birthday /Blur's Day, email me, andrew@tbtl.net. Put Blur's Day in the subject line. I got a note here from our pal Bill in Kingston. That's Ontario, right? I know it's Canada. It's Ontario, I believe. I'm wishing myself a golden Blur's Day as I officially turn into a senior citizen today. I can't believe that I've been listening to TBTL. What is that, by the way? What is officially a senior citizen? And is it different in Canada?
I'm terrible with the kind of conversion rate, but I'm guessing maybe 60?
60-ish? That seems about right.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what they... That's the sound they play for you in Canada when you've officially crossed over into Senior dumb.
I see. Let's see here. Bill says, I can't believe that I've been listening to TBTL since I was Luke's age, or maybe your age, Andrew. I remember when there were weekend replay shows. Hey, that was the first thing I did officially on TBTL, I think, other than being a guest. I remember when Andrew came onto the scene. I remember Pizza Roulette with Jen and Sean. Happy Blur's Day to all of... Actually, I don't think Jen and Sean were part of Pizza Roulette, not to sharpshoot this here, right?
That's been coming up on the show kind of a lot lately.
Yeah. I think that's Yumi Radke, the Mummy, right?
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Yes.
And maybe some other folks were in there. Happy Blur's Day. Oh, Sean might have been there. Happy Blur's Day to all my
Sean
fellow...
was there.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah. Happy Blur's Day to all my fellow 10s this week, especially those who didn't get a shout-out today. Bill's got you covered, guys. Happy Blur's Day, Bill.
You know what Bill is? Bill's the GOAT.
Oh, yes.
Been listening for so long and checking. And I say this, I say this semi-regularly, but I do remember in the early days of Bill, when he was Bill in Toronto, Bill the Torontan, reaching out and me just being kind of like, holy smokes, we got somebody listening in Toronto?
Yeah.
Like when folks, the early days of people checking in from like outside of Seattle and even outside of the U.S., it was very, very encouraging to me to feel like, okay, people are hearing this in faraway places.
And I want Bill to know that I am looking forward to bucket hat season, which is coming up. Bill sent me a really nice bucket hat that I don't know if I don't want to get him in trouble.
Does it have writing on it?
It does. It's like what mail carriers wear.
Yeah, because Bill was a mailman.
And I think I'm supposed to maybe low key that a little bit because I don't know exactly where he got it from, but it's really cool, and I like to use it when I am working out in the yard and trimming back the bushes. Coming up. Ariel says, happy 35th birthday, Jake. You've thwarted my attempts for yet another year. You're getting wiser with age. From your loving wife, Ariel. This is Jake, the perfect daddy, I believe, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There in Chicago. Happy Blur's Day, Jake. They grew up so quickly. Zach in McFarland, Wisconsin says, happy birthday. I don't know anything about McFarland, Wisconsin, but I'm going to guess they have a bowling alley. I would love to go bowling in McFarland, Wisconsin.
You know what I would love to do, and I'm going to, and you can't stop me. There's a new, docu-series on HBO about pro bowlers, and it looks... I know you're not particularly a reality TV kind of guy, but this is something slightly different. I think, again, it's not like a competition or like a thing where it's more like just, I think, a documentary, but it's broken up into episodes following some bowlers, including the Who Do You Think You Are, I Am guy.
Oh, really?
So you got some younger guys that are trying to make it in the league and some guys that have been there for a while, and it's just a view into the world of professional bowling or people that are trying to become professional bowlers. It looks awesome. It's on HBO.
Have you seen the documentary now that is about bowling and bowlers? This is almost like real life.
Is that the one that's got Tim Robinson?
I was going to say
he's playing basically. Is that Pete Weber? Is that the name of the guy?
The name of the Who Do You Think You Are, I Am
guy?
That sounds about right. I was going to ask you, I was like, because I know that was a favorite documentary now. I know I've seen it, but it's been a long time, and I was going to ask you if Tim Robinson is in it. I think he is.
Yeah, he plays basically a Pete Weber.
Yeah.
They dress him exactly like that, and he's just yelling insane stuff after he bowled. It's pretty great.
I need to rewatch that. That show is really genius. And I was the opposite of a completist on that. Like, I only caught it here and there, but Genevieve swears by it. Like,
the Great Gardens one
is just. Oh, I have not seen that one. I've heard you mention it before, but I have not. I haven't seen Great Gardens though. Maybe you know what, Luke? On the way to Hawaii.
Yes.
I'm thinking about things that I want to kind of watch on the plane. That might be a perfect.
Great Gardens is a fascinating. I think that's the Maisels brothers, right?
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, and then definitely watch Great Gardens before you watch the documentary now, because it'll tickle you. It'll delight you.
That sounds great.
My dad is bringing in a Sawzall.
Ooh, that's gonna get loud.
Which is so okay. Keep going.
We'll
but just so you know,
here.
we may be sawzed here.
Okay, we only have about 17,000 more of these to go.
Why don't you just handle it?
We have Eric in Minnesota says, taking it on to wish myself a happy Blur's Day. It's a golden Blur's Day for me.
Oh.
And that won't come back until 2032. which is in
like Halley's Comet.
1,500 shows from now. Thanks for doing the math on that, Eric. And happy Golden Blurs. Happy birthday to me, says Eric. In my notes, I have that as Eric's, by the way. I think that's a typo on my end. I don't think it's Eric's.
That would be Eric. If you named your kid Eric's, you'd be saddling them with a lifetime of being on the phone going, no, it's Eric's. It's
it's
multiple
Eric's.
Eric's. No, it's Eric. It's like more than one Eric. It's Eric's.
January. Please wish a most bright and sunny, and no, that's it. I messed that up. I'm going to start over. Here we go. Please wish a most bright and shiny of blurs to Virginia over there in Fort Worth from her biggest fan in Virginia. This is Holly in Alexandria. May the bright moments shrink the dark ones and joy win the day. I love that. Happy Blurs Day, Virginia. So that was a Blurs Day shout out to somebody named Virginia from somebody in Virginia. So point that out for people who weren't clocking that. Happy Blurs Day to Hauser. Hey, our pal Hauser.
Wait, are you sure it wasn't? Are you sure it wasn't Virginia?
Oh yeah.
I bought a balloon, and it doesn't mean I think I'm better than everybody else.
It wasn't Virginia Horston.
I need to pull that full tape out and start the show with that sometime very soon. Thank you for the reminder on that. I feel
Friday
like
intro.
Every day I'm like just scrolling through my like kind of pre-made intros, and I feel like I do the same ones over and over, and then I'm reminded of that. Like, how has that not popped up recently? It's one of my favorites. Happy Blurs Day to Hauser from Anna.
J-Dog?
I shouldn't be learning about it this way. Happy Blurs Day, Hauser. I'm sorry that I forgot. That's me speaking, not Anna. Anna is the one reminding us. Happy Blurs Day to Hauser from Anna. It says, if my phone calculator is to be trusted, you are 48. Damn. Thanks for being a consummate cat daddy, providing endless tech-related advice, and going toe-to-toe with my dramatic voice notes. Have a great year, party girl. Glove Anna. No, Annie.
Cute.
She signs it Annie. All right. Sorry. Messed that up. A lot of mistakes today. I have one more here. This is from Diane, who says, a very happy Blurs Day to my beautiful daughter and favorite fellow 10, Grace. See, this is what we like to. This is what we like to see. This is what we like to hear. This is Grace is not a 5. Grace is a fellow 10. Love that. Oh, I'm out of music, but that's okay. I will never regret making you listen to TBTL every night during the radio days, even though I'm certain it molded your adolescent brain in ways that can never be undone. Suddenly you find yourself donating to podcasts. What have I done?
So explain that.
I hope your Blurs Day week is full of music, dancing, delicious food, and fun, and that this year is everything you want it to be and more. Happy Blurs Day,
Sweet.
Grace, from Diane and from us.
Absolutely. Solid name, too.
Very,
amazing
very
name
nice.
for a kid.
Yeah, I like that. All right, Luke. That's all. That's all I got. I wish I had more.
Excellent.
For
Well,
you.
it's actually, that's his perfect timing because my dad has got the Sawzall. He's got his hand on the trigger, and he's ready to do some sort of intense, loud sawing process there under that kitchen island. So.
Well, I know it's not a competition, but I want you to know that our contractors will be here pretty soon, and they're bringing a Saw's Sum with them. It's not a Sawzall, but it's definitely a Saw's Sum.
Well, you saved a little money on that, so it's probably worth it.
It'll show in the end, though.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode, but we will be right back here tomorrow with more Imaginary Radio for all of you, so please stop on by for that. In the meantime, have a great Thursday. Take care of yourselves, and please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.